expect to be nervous. But seeing everyone here like this, it's strange, isn't it? I feel like I must have dreamed the last few months. Now I'm waking up back in camp with my hair smelling like wood smoke and fallen leaves stuck to my backside. A little wine might help accelerate the process. So, we should divvy up what we tell people about what we've been doing these past few months. I'd hate to be a bore that comes along and regurgitates the same story to someone moments after you've told them. Any ideas? Well, there's the visit to the House of the Moon, fending off Sharan assassins. That stray imp that joined us. Bing Bong, wasn't it? We've squeezed in a lot. And I'm glad I got to share it all with you. I'm sure we'll have them hanging off our every word. I'll leave you to do some mingling, unless you need anything else. That can be arranged. Almost a shame we're with company. I'd be tempted to let you whisk me away someplace quiet. Why? Are you expecting to be gone for long? All right. I could get lost in those arms. With music in the air and wine flowing, I think I'll manage. Don't get into trouble, but if you must, fetch me first. Enjoying yourself, I hope. I know. I'll have to stop myself from getting teary-eyed when it's time to say goodbye again. Let's make tonight count. The only regrets I want to hear about come morning should revolve around an excess of carousing and questionable dancing. Are you trying to make me sleepy? You know how easily I get lost in your arms. Save it for when we're alone. Anyway, I know it's real. I know we made it. I just wish I could go back in time and reassure the old me that it would all work out. But enough introspection. This is a party. Oh, I've noticed. Ever since I first slipped into my camp garments, I should think. You're sweet, but don't worry. After all we've been through, this will be a breeze. Just don't leave me alone for too long. Forgetting something? That's more like it. Oh, come here and pay the tax, silly. Oh, hush. We'll have each other all to ourselves again soon enough. There's special potions that can help with that. I think I saw some on a table over yonder if you care to investigate. All about you, of course. Hells or not, every day's an adventure when I'm at Karlak's side. I'll tell them. That is a good one. Though, I wonder if they'll believe it. You and me against all those Cambions. And I actually managed to land a hit with my sacred flame. I was thinking the same of you. You pick me up whenever I'm down. Often literally. You're right. Your mere presence alone will leave them awed. Just like when I first clapped eyes on you. Of course. You know, I think it was your self-confidence that made me fall for you to begin with. That and that adorable earring of yours. A touch bloodthirsty for party talk, no? But I suppose people like that sort of thing. I suppose I can talk about playing the philanthropic duchess, touring the streets and winning the hearts of the masses. Who knew smiling and waving could be so much work? There are friends, dear. Let's spill nothing but wine tonight. I hope that doesn't extend to me as well. But so long as your silver tongue is the only part of your mouth you put to use tonight, I hope we won't seem terribly boring to everyone when they ask what we've been doing this past while. A cottage in the countryside. They may have been expecting something more. Well, more. Me neither. It's just like I dreamed of. A little house to call our own, teeming with animals, the flowers we sowed starting to bloom. And you there, at my side. You look good, with your sleeves rolled up, working in the garden. I had to remind myself I was there to transplant the red cabbages and not just enjoy the view. It's fine. Already passed. Shal must have sensed I was enjoying myself. She'd probably break out in hives. But enough about Shah and her petty barbs. We're here to see old friends and enjoy ourselves. So let's do just that. True. They might even be jealous of the bucolic life. Perhaps every adventurer secretly pines for a little flower-strewn cottage overrun with animals. Stop it, you. We'll be back before you know it. Tonight, let's just enjoy ourselves. Catch up with old friends. What's the current count again? 4 dogs, 8 cats, 9 chickens, 6 pigeons, 4 sheep, Daphne the milk cow, that odd little squirrel that keeps jumping on my shoulder, and Buttons, of course. And plenty room for more, when they find their way to us. True. I wonder if anyone will be interested to hear the stories they told me of my youngest years. It's still strange to think of this whole other childhood I had before Shah. Almost like it's some other little girl. That sounds fun. Why haven't we been doing that? Perhaps I'll shoo the cats out of our room and scatter copper pieces over the bed some evening, and we can play make-believe. So am I at times. But he's just a helpless pup. I don't think it was a coincidence when I found him in the woods. Far from it. She's just protective of me. I give her a shoulder to perch on and all the nuts she can manage. It's no hardship. He loves them. Him and Mother both. But we'll fetch him something, yes. Some of his shirts are looking a little worn. Oh, gods no, that sounds awful. They drag mud everywhere and eat us out of house and home. Let them crave whatever they want then. I'll know I got the better end of the bargain. Perhaps. I won't get my hopes up just yet, but in truth it doesn't matter. Her plan failed. I'm happy. I mean, how could I not be? I have you. You'll seize any opportunity, won't you? but I suppose I've been giving you plenty of encouragement. Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. I'm not entirely sure I'd agree. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I'm glad you seem well. Truly. I had no doubt. But I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poisoned blade to best me. Especially when I have a friend on the inside keeping me abreast of their predictable little plans. None other. The matter of her faith and allegiances remains complicated, let's say. But she is still my oldest friend. I have hopes that perhaps she might turn from Shar entirely given time. But that's a decision she will have to make for herself. If that day comes, I'll be ready. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. As am I. It's well deserved, and I dare anyone to argue otherwise. Hopefully these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger. You can say that with a straight face after all the times I had to come to your aid. Hilarious. You could find work as a jester if you stumble upon a noble with more gold than taste. Likewise. And I'm glad at least one of us was confident in your return. It hasn't always been easy, wondering if something might have happened to you and Karlak in that place. But perhaps I should have known better than to doubt. It is you we're talking about, after all. Come here, will you? In all likelihood, it will be. But we mustn't let that stop us. What can I say? We shared something extraordinary, even if we didn't always see eye to eye. Let's leave old squabbles in the past. I thought perhaps you mightn't want to be reminded of the past, even if it was to see old friends. But I'm glad to be proven wrong. Well, I'm glad you joined us, all the same. It must be hard to pull yourself away from your balcony with Tara curled up in your lap. If I didn't know any better, I'd almost think you've missed me. He's quite powerful for a fellow content to loiter in our camp the whole time, isn't he? I wonder if he'll ever reveal what he's been up to exactly. But no matter. If Wither's wily ways are what it takes to have you here with us, then I'm all for it. So have I. It hasn't been quite the same without you. I missed how you'd start dancing rather than stand still. I'm glad you're willing to wield your power in aid of a good cause then. And what better cause is there than a party? That's what bookmarks are for, Gale. You're allowed to come up for air every now and again. I see. Well, I hope you managed to clean up before joining us. Good. Let's just hope the only things that need skewering tonight are the party victuals. I suppose it can't be easy making friends amongst the gods, being the Pantheon's newest arrival. I can imagine. Hopefully our humble little gathering is up to your measure. At least the only quarry you're in pursuit of this time is a filled goblet. Indeed, you'll be in your element. Just try to keep to the provided beverages, yes? Well, there's no need for that tonight. You're among friends. And woe to anyone foolish enough to interfere with our reunion. As have I. And I'm particularly glad to see you haven't tumbled off the back of a red dragon or gotten yourself skewered in some distant battle. It hasn't been easy, not knowing. A sorely deserved downfall, I might add. Vlaakith made the wrong enemies, and now it will cost her everything. Same. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I suppose I do, don't I? Filled out and healthy is what I was going for. Don't tell me you miss living off whatever scraps we found in crates and barrels. No offense intended. Quite the contrary, in fact. Fair point. I'm not quite sure this evening's refreshments will be to your tastes, but hopefully the company will make up for it. Oh, don't be such a grumpy rosé. Being sentimental is what parties are for. Give it some time. You'll loosen up as the night progresses. Peace and quiet will still be there waiting once I've lived a little. Though, don't get me wrong, I've got a little cottage with a garden and animals in mind already. I like to think so. Choosing my own path is still something of a novelty for me, but at least I'm free to make my own mistakes. It's a privilege to have memories, even bad ones. They've molded me into the person I am. As have you, come to think about it. And oh so modest. Not quite. But Luckily, Seluna allows you to forge your own path. Perhaps I'll be drawn to her, perhaps not. Either way, I get to decide. That's not something I was ever able to claim before. We had tea on his balcony. Tara even deigned to sit on my lap for a while. You know, I think entire forests must have been felled to quench that man's thirst for books. He seems to be doing well. In his element. I wanted to, truly. But I suspected someone with ill intent was tailing me. I didn't want to lead them to your door. I'd left the city by the time they made their move. Don't worry. They proved no challenge. You might still spot crows pecking at Shah and Bones on the road to Daggerford. Next time I'll visit properly. And without any uninvited tag-alongs. You both can give me the grand tour. You saved the world. That doesn't leave much off the table. But, point taken. I'll be as cautious as a cat with 8 lives spent. I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'll just stick a pin in a map and see what I find, or head to the docks in the morning and scrounge a berth to find somewhere new. I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love to see if there's any truth to that. Playing it coy, are we? Sounds like a girl I used to know. But you're entitled to your secrets. At least until the festivities loosen your tongue a bit. Do you ever rest? Think of all those poor, budding adventurers looking to make a name for themselves. Take some time off and give them a chance, why don't you? Isn't that how it always starts? Just joking. I'm sure after all we've been through, you know your limitations better than anyone. Well, you needn't count me amongst the panicky. I know what you did for all of us. And I'll never forget it. Coming from me, that's saying something. That must be difficult. I'm sorry. But who knows what the future holds? Even Cazador might be toppled one night, given the right push. I'm glad you two have each other. Hells, I'd be almost tempted to come along if you'd have me. Perhaps if your adventures ever lead you out of Avernus permanently. Death, exile, or ceremorphosis. I'm sorry, Karlak. I wish there'd been better options open to you. But who knows? Perhaps they'll reveal themselves in time. And we'll still have tonight. That's got to count for something. Glad to hear it. After all we've been through, I think you deserve some time where the greatest peril you'll face is a paper cut. I don't know. I manage in my own way. Seluna offers her wisdom, of course, but she has a far lighter touch than Shah ever did. You're more than capable of forging your own path. I'm certain of it. That sounds foreboding. I'm not entirely sure I want to know more. Try and behave at least. And if you can't behave, maybe slip me a warning to keep my distance? I should gift you some earplugs the next time I see you then. But I know you'll be able to keep Mizora in her place. You have a good heart and a sharp mind, Will. Trust your own instincts, and the city will be lucky to have you. I can imagine. A celebrity in their midst. They must have raised their voices from whispers to faint murmurs. That wouldn't have been your style even when you were just a man, would it? Just Don't forget us shrimpy wee mortals while you're exploring the extent of your new power. There are few I'd trust to wield such powers more than you. I expect a new generation will grow up listening to tales of the Blade. Hell's, give it a few more months and there'll probably be a host of newborns called Will. We're of a like mind then. Perhaps we should see about adventuring together at some point. For old time's sake. I had a feeling you might. Think it over. We can talk more in the morning. Pore over some maps, perhaps. If we travel together, it would be as equals. I think we've both been through enough to have earned each other's respect by now. That's the beauty of it. We're in no hurry. We can do what we like now. Besides, you'll need someone to patch you up from time to time. Well, you understand the gravity of the role, which means you're the right person for it. Don't remind me. Someone's always got somewhere else to be, but let's do our best all the same. Who's to say? Perhaps I'll set out on a new adventure of my own while I await your return. I can hardly be expected to take up knitting while you have all the fun, can I? I've missed wine. Had to resort to making my own cider recently, which isn't bad, don't get me wrong. But a girl can't have fun with apples alone. You might be onto something there, though the name might need work. Somehow it sounds rude, even though I know otherwise. Almost a shame we didn't throw more parties, come to think of it. After felling Ketherick Thorn, perhaps, we even had an inn at our disposal, and a brewery. I found a little cottage. Abandoned, half ruined. There's a lot of such places to be found, thanks to the Absolute's armies. I've been making it my own. It's harder work than I'd expected, actually. I'll never take vegetables for granted after all the effort it's taken to grow a few, but still, it's mine. Well, mine and the lodger's. 4 dogs, 8 cats, 9 chickens, 6 pigeons, 4 sheep, a milk cow named Daphne, a squirrel who's far too clever for her own good, and a wolf cub I found orphaned in some woods. I've had to do far worse things with my hands. Trust me. This is no burden at all. I don't think I've ever slept more soundly than I have with my menagerie of beasts for company. Just don't tell Halcyon that, or he'll want an invitation. Healing. Learning to live again. It's hard to think of all that was robbed from them, but they're intent on making every day count for double. My mother's mind still drifts every now and again, but she has more good days than not so good days. She taught me her recipe for apple and plum pie, and when I tasted it, I actually remembered it from when I was a little girl. Some things can't be taken from you, it seems. Father's making himself useful, helping me fix up the cottage and caring for the animals. You should see the amount I have now. He's been waiting years for this. Now he can't stop smiling. Sorry, I'm rambling. Family life and pastry recipes probably aren't the most interesting topics for such a historic reunion. As am I. And no small bit surprised, also. Part of me is afraid I'll wake up from the dream and find myself back in the wilds, or worse, at the cloister. But no, it's real. You can come as soon as you please, so long as the lodgers approve of you. I feel the same, honestly. The woman in the mirror looks unfamiliar sometimes, but She looks happy. And she has plenty of company as well. He's just a frightened little pup. He has no idea what he'll grow up to be. And maybe, with me there to guide him, who knows what he'll become. It's amazing what can happen with the right nurturing. I've called him Buttons, because he has different coloured eyes like buttons on a ragdoll. The pain still comes from time to time, but I won't let her torment me. I won't let her take any more from me. She's had more than enough already. Now she can dwell in her beloved darkness, ignored. Sorry. I found that happiness is an active thing. You have to fight for it every day like you would a battle. I won't give her the satisfaction ever again. Oh, like a barn. I bathed 3 times before tonight just to be safe, and cleared out the apothecaries of rosewater and incense. I couldn't have said it better myself. Just be sure to take your own advice whenever you can. You've earned it. Of course I do. Everything sounds good when I say it. The latrine's overflowing again. Watch your step. Oh, I truly hope you're not speaking from experience. No. Fine. With a little bit of spittle, chew your victuals, then play skittles. Congratulations, I think I've sprained my tongue. And proud of it. Another time, perhaps. Some undefined time in the far, distant future. I do. What the hells does that mean? Very well. I may be a hater and a gatekeeper, but I'm also God's favourite princess and the most interesting girl in the world. Mad as a sack of shaken geese, clearly. No wonder they got rid of her. I suppose it's worth a try. It might keep the animals amused for a while. And I've been telling them about you, of course. How brave and selfless you were, going to the hells with Karlach. And a lot more besides. On my favourite topic. Oh, no, of course not. I'll need you to be there in person for that. See if I can make you squirm. Neither can I. But be warned, you'll need to be willing to share with the lodgers. Of course. The cats have just been keeping your side of the bed warm for you. They may not be appreciative of the hell scent on you, but nothing a good scrub can't remedy. Don't worry. You'll surpass them without even trying. They know everything you did. For Baldur's Gate. For me. Of course. All that and more. But it's your modesty that I truly admire the most. Don't think I won't hold you to that. And take care of each other. Always. You know, I never really imagined Withers as much of a party thrower. But then again, I suppose our camps weren't taking care of themselves while we were out gallivanting, were they? There's hidden depths in that lovable husk. Indeed. Healing can only do so much. We'd likely be dead somewhere out in the wilderness if not for him. Oh no, that's all part of the fun. You know me. I can't resist a bit of mystery. I hope the sun takes its time slipping through the hourglass. I don't want tonight to end too soon. My, You'll make the others jealous if you spend much more time with me. We should make this a tradition. Meet up every year. Well, seeing as you asked so politely. Never gets old. Oh, before you go, how does a red dragon plan their day? They don't. They just wing it. Sorry. My father's got years of terrible jokes stocked up that he never got to tell me when I was younger, but lucky for him, I've never heard them. And seemingly I am easily amused. As if you'd have me any other way. Go on, you've got mingling to do. I'll work on my punchlines some more. I know, I would have been an open book to you in no time. But don't pretend you didn't like the mystery. Exactly, that's what makes it so good. Well, considering all he went through, I'll understand if his humor lay dormant for a while. But I'm glad it's back. Not with that sort of attitude, I don't. Fine, if it gets you to crack a smile. Let me see. Oh, what did the amorous boar say to the sow? Fancy, but oink? Why, thank you. Ha, not quite. Fancy, but oink? Oh, come on, you loved it. I'll wager I'll overhear you telling that to someone else before the night is out. Oh no, this is far more sophisticated. It has layers. Fancy, but oink? Come on, oink like a pig and boink. Oh, you know what I mean. I'm unappreciated in my time. Is that so? And what liberties did you decide to take, exactly? The owlbear? Of course I'll have him. If he wants to come with me, that is. I'd have offered sooner, but everything was a blur after the battle. I thought he'd gone to roam free. Are you sure he'd want to join? I'm not exactly settled anywhere right now. It could be dangerous at times. All right, then. It's settled. Oh, the things we'll get up to. Oh, hells, what? Not another adventure, is it? I'm quite content with my semi-retirement. I'll have to find somewhere for him to sleep, of course. He'd get stuck in the door of my cottage. Maybe the barn. It's as warm as anywhere as long as he gets along with Daphne. I suppose you're right. He's come a long way since he first wandered into our camp. We all have. I can picture the look on my parents' faces already. Well, that's half reassuring. Good thing we've got plenty of wild game around. Well, now I'm going to have to do that, aren't I? You're a bad influence, you know. Lady Shah's blessings to you. Or perhaps you don't need them. You look well. I couldn't agree more. Lady Shah's holy work is all-consuming. I doubt I'd manage without a feather bed to turn to. Her entire church prospers. The Absolute washed the Sword Coast with blood and tears. It's now a fertile ground for her message to flourish. Broken hearts, shaken faiths, refugees without homes, former cultists without purpose. They can all become the Night Singer's children. With the right nudge. You should see how they flock to us. We spread like the night sky chasing the sun below the horizon. You did, and I'll be forever grateful. Perhaps one day, you may open your eyes to her wisdom yourself. But even if you do not, I shall make sure that the sharp edge of her spreading gospel does not trouble you. But enough of that. I won't have it said that I'm not capable of enjoying a fine night with good company. Tell me what you've been doing. I won't pretend I'm not a little jealous. Lady Shar is a demanding mistress, as is her right to be. But a little calm and solitude would be a tonic. I suppose you'll be keen to do the rounds, with so many old acquaintances gathered. Do not let me hoard your time. But don't be such a stranger, either, in future. You know where to find me. I can always make some time for an old friend. One of the privileges of being in charge. I've got my own private wine cellar now. I'll keep a special vintage aside for your visit. All-consuming. Endless decisions to make, underlings jockeying for your attention, threats from the outside, threats from the inside. There's times I miss when it was just our little group against the odds. Simplicity is a luxury that's drifted out of my reach, I'm afraid. But, at least for tonight, I can have a taste of how it used to be. I shouldn't. But from time to time, yes. Holding the office she once held, standing within the shadow of Lady Shar herself, it complicates my feelings towards her. I came to see her as an adversary, an obstacle. But what recourse did she have? What did she see when she looked at me? A future in which she was discarded, where the reward for her service and sacrifice was to groom her own replacement. What transpired was the Dark Lady's will. If time rolled back, I would do the same thing all over again without hesitation. Yet, I am not without sympathy. Almost as busy as I am. Such rapid growth creates a good deal of work for a quartermaster. So many lost souls in need of dark cloaks. She has risen to the occasion, though, as I knew she would. Sometimes she fears the others will grow jealous, but I see her as a favorite. Well, it's true. I do. They can challenge me on the matter if they dare, though none are so bold. What? A show of sincere affection? You're lucky none of my followers are around to witness this. Come here. Let's keep that our special secret. I have a reputation to maintain, you know. Very much so. I couldn't bear to miss it, no matter how busy Lady Shar's work keeps me. Very apt choice of words. But it doesn't just go for me. Lady Shar's entire church prospers. Most, perhaps, but I can hardly be paying compliments to my lady's competition now, can I? So modest. You and I both know your visage is a mark of pride. It denotes fearlessness, tenacity, a capacity for self-sacrifice that would make most hearts quake. I have little doubt, but you can give your sword arm a rest. Tonight is for celebrating. Perish the thought. You are right to look the part. I know the importance of appearances and maintaining your grasp of power all too well. How descriptive of you. But I suppose that counts as thriving by your yardstick. I'm glad you managed to pull yourself away from your leather-bound harem, then. Coming from you, that's high praise. The continent ought to be flattered. Really? I thought you might take up knitting or jam-making, perhaps. Of course I'm not surprised, Astarion. I'd be outright disappointed if you did anything less. So I've heard. Just be sure to keep it far from Lady Shah's holy work. Even the sharpest blade can be dulled against her power. Well, you pull it off admirably, I must admit. I'm sure you'll find plenty who'll fawn at the idea of a romantic fugitive. And suits the populace, I dare say. They've probably had their fill of butchered corpses in the streets. She sowed the seeds of her own destruction when she betrayed you, Lae'zel. Just be careful. I wouldn't want anything to happen to you out there. Oh, do not fear them. There's no point in fearing the inevitable. Nobility suits you. I've been sure to keep some discreet eyes on your progress. Their reports have been very complimentary. I think we both know the darkness is far superior anyway. Besides, the flicker of candlelight truly brings out your cheekbones. You may very well be right. Perhaps you'll become the subject of books in years to come, rather than the avid consumer of them. Everyone is exploited. Lowest gutter to highest throne, there's always someone above you pulling the strings. If you think otherwise, you aren't looking hard enough. If those people didn't come to me, who knows where they'd end up? Lady Shah provides food, shelter, training, purpose, and the wisdom that one day their pain will no longer matter. They have already been tempered by loss. They were meant to become her instruments. Sorry. Every gathering is an opportunity when you're doing the Dark Lady's work. For now. You did. And I'll be forever grateful. I'll keep Lady Shah's followers away from your nascent church for as long as I can. Give you a sporting chance. You have worshippers of your own, Gale. Are you really in a position to judge? I'd have expected the god of ambition to understand that you must do whatever it takes. A pity, yes. But also for the best, perhaps. It would have pained me to have you close, but not be able to dedicate myself to you in every waking moment. We would have been able to claim just enough of each other's hearts in order for it to hurt. Better to indulge ourselves fully whenever fate allows, than to live in compromise. And tonight of all nights was made for indulgence. I don't know if that's strictly true. I think I saw just about every inch of you when I last slipped away from my duties. I jest. You would think I'd be accustomed to loss. Yet, it stings all the same. Lady Shah may keep me occupied, but there's always a place in my heart and mind for you. But let's not grow maudlin. This is a celebration. Tell me what you've been doing with yourself. You didn't seem to be of that mind when we last slipped away together. You couldn't get enough of me, as I recall. At least let's enjoy tonight. Then I can leave you be once more. In time you will feel that old yearning again and darken my door. I'd like to think I'm cunning enough to get away with it. Come here to me. Like a rare vintage. Bittersweet to taste so infrequently, yet always worth the wait. Nor are you the same man who fell for me. Time can be unkind to hearts in that sense, especially if you fear change. But don't worry. I'm sure you'll find there's still plenty to like, if you care to indulge. And tonight of all nights was made for indulgence. Apart from give closure to a former lover, perhaps? Don't worry, I'm not upset. Lady Shah would likely have prized us away from each other even if you had remained. I can't imagine she'd be thrilled to hear I've been consorting with her competition. But between you and me, best of luck with your endeavors. It's good that you two have each other for company. Fitting, perhaps. You left there a hunter and quarry and return as allies and friends. But I'll leave such notions for the bards to pick over. Not appropriate for someone of my standing to indulge in sentiment. Or at least, not often. You've been busy. Careful you don't pull a muscle. I'm not there to nurse you back to health anymore. No interest in a little respite, then? I won't claim to be surprised. You never struck me as the sort to rest on her laurels, Lae'zel. And building up quite the reputation for yourself as well, no doubt. I've seen more than a few children playing as you on the streets, brandishing sticks at each other. Not in the slightest, no. But I am glad to hear it nonetheless. Oh, you utter tease. I suppose I, of all people, can't begrudge you your secrets. I have little doubt. Only the strongest of hearts could endure such challenges and maintain even a sliver of your good cheer. There's great virtue in stealth. Perhaps you can help train some of my initiates in the future. I could repay you in any juicy morsels who fail to pass muster. Oh, you're far too cunning to fall for that. Consider Lady Shah's cloister your safe sanctuary, for as long as it answers to me. Helping shape the minds of future generations, is it? Just be sure to steer them far away from dabbling in Netherese magic. Understandable. But rest assured that your secret is safe with me. Lady Shah respects those who live in the shadows. I'm sure you have no shortage of challenges there. I can only imagine what your trophy wall must look like, assuming you keep trophies, or have a wall, for that matter. And what better to revel in than Lady Shah's umbral bliss? Just be careful to not overindulge. Drain too many maidens and young bucks, and you may find a mob breaking down your door. Yes, shy is indeed not a word I'd reach for when it comes to her. I'm glad the city has you as a steadying influence. Just don't solve all its problems, or I'll be short of new recruits. Intriguing. Yet, I hope your ambitions don't grow so great that we find ourselves at odds. I would hate for you to force my hand for the sake of Lady Shah's interests. People never talk about just how exhausting power can be, do they? Don't worry. Even the most lost souls will find their way to Lady Shah's embrace. In the end. I should hope not. If any city-sized craters should appear in Faerun, I'll know who to blame. Can you blame them? It must be like meeting their literary hero, or anti-hero, I suppose. You would think Vlaakith would understand by now that it would take more than a few cutthroats to best you. But no matter. I'm quite content to let her ranks of minions dwindle against the edge of your blade. Would that I could. But this is my life now. Lady Shah must come first. Always. Fighting at Lae'zel's side. Vlaakith is clinging to power, but the tide is turning in our favor. Battle by battle. I'm not quite used to riding on a dragon with Lae'zel yet. I tend to cling onto her waist for dear life. She makes the beast do barrel rolls every now and again to make me squeal. I wish I could see more of my parents, but we managed to stay in touch. They're well, settled at a cottage I found for them. Perhaps one day Lae'zel will have her fill of battle and we can go join them for good. I wonder what my parents would make of it, if they could see me. I'd like to think they'd be glad I was happy. I've been at Astarion's side. You'll have to forgive me if you catch me yawning. Given his aversion to the sun, we've had to keep unsocial hours in order to make the best of each other's company. That or very heavy drapes. But Astarion's fussy about his decor, so the cover of darkness is often the easiest option. My parents are close enough that I get to see them regularly. A little cottage outside the city. I need to make every moment with them count, after so much was stolen from us. Probably for the best that my parents aren't around to see me now. I'm not quite sure they'd approve of my choice of lover. Raising hells with Karlach in Avernus, of course. I'm surprised you can't smell the brimstone on me. I wish I could see more of my parents, but we get by, and they're doing well for themselves. Perhaps one day both Karlach and I will be able to return for good. It's not exactly the quiet life, but perhaps after all that happened with my parents, it's for the best if I keep busy. Still though, I hope Karlach and I can return for good someday. But until then, I'm glad to be by her side. Or thrown over her shoulder on occasion if the odds turn against us. Between you and me, I've pretended to have a sprained ankle now and again for a ride on those muscles. I've been at Astarion's side. You'll have to forgive me if you catch me yawning. This is the latest in a long line of parties. He takes no rest for the wicked very seriously. At Will's side, of course. Honestly, I'm still not used to being married. It's almost a surprise every morning that I wake next to him. But a very pleasant surprise. And I get to see my parents almost every day. I need to make every moment with them count, after so much was stolen from us. But they're doing well, and are very pleased to have a son-in-law. Who knows? Perhaps they'll have grandchildren before long. I only wish my parents could have met him properly. But I think they know I'm happy. I can feel their presence when the moon is full. At Will's side in Avernus, of course. Be it in the heat of battle or the heat of the bedroll. Sorry, am I oversharing? I don't get much practice at polite conversation in that place, as I'm sure you can imagine. I wish I could see more of my parents, but we get by. And they're doing well for themselves. Perhaps one day both Will and I will be able to return for good. Withers has surpassed himself with the musical accompaniment for the evening. I had feared things might be a touch more sedate out here in the wilderness. I'll admit it. I miss the sounds of the wilderness at night. You simply don't get that in the city. Perhaps we should start throwing parties. But then again, just attending them grants you all the fun with none of the mess. My lady truly shows her splendor on nights like these. Have fun. Just don't wear yourself out too quickly. I'm anticipating a long night ahead of us. A shame I don't have my old tent. I might have been tempted to pull you into it. You know, it'll be very difficult for me to keep focused on the rest of the party if you keep kissing me like that. I should be careful. It would be all too easy to get lost in those arms. I might have to call on you to trouble me again before the night runs its course.